Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up. But first, let's take a look at our weather, brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and his hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. And gonna be pretty comfortable. High 63, low only 55. That's interesting. Water temperature in the pier is below 59 now. It's like 58.7. So it did drop a little bit. All churned up. I mean, the water on the surf and all is all muddy and everything. So it'll settle on down in a day or two. But it really got churned up and really big waves throughout the Panhandle. The river reading is brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola. Check this out. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown. You're talking about high, folks, it's at 16.5. I repeat, Apalachicola, Bluntstown, 16.5. Well, you think that's something? Look at Choctaw at Kerrville, 11.1, and on the rise. So it's going to be, there's a lot of water all throughout our river swamp. So be aware of that. There's going to be some swift water, a lot of logs, coming down. A lot of limbs been blown off from the storms, and a lot of them in the water, so be careful if you're getting out on the river. Take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn, Thursday, January the 11th. Look at that low tide. I mean, it's super low in the wintertime, then look how high. Really got a strong incoming tide. The low tide is going to be this morning at 7:50 and high tonight at 9:25. So you have a really good, strong incoming tide. But these winter tides, and this is a great picture of it, are really low. I can see it on a regular basis from my place. I go out almost at the end of the dock. It's just, that's the way it is during the wintertime. Our wind direction will be coming out of the east, southeast at about 8. So not as bad as it has been. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I hope everybody's all settled in a day or two after the storm, and it was really something else. I took a little bit of video, I had real quick out in my front yard. I know a lot of, with phones now, you can just take so much and everything. That's really sort of what I did. But nature itself, the weather, I think one of the reasons all of us are so fascinated with it and yet scared of it and yet respectful of it is we can't control it. It controls what we do, and this is a great example. We have this. Here's what was going on. I just want to show you. Here's what was going on at my place. The wind, of course. Now Jeff lives right across the bay from me, and I had heard that one of the tornadoes, and the one that hit up in Bayou George sort of came over North Bay. That's the dam that way. But it really was storming, and I wouldn't recommend getting outside, but I can't help it. I just get outside and do things. Okay, so this is like 5 minutes later, and you see more daybreak. But this is low tide. Now, we really had a low tide. Could you imagine if we had a high tide, what would have happened? But it was taking a beat, and shorelines all along. Up and down the coastline, but the palm trees, and it doesn't show, let's see, I was going to show you one more real quick. It blew over, the bird feeder stayed on, but it sort of bent the rod. And so let's see, here's one I wanted to show. It's coming, okay, so it's cleared up more, but this is, we were having 70, 75 miles per hour wind, which is Category 1 hurricane. And see how it's washing over? I mean, the shoreline takes a beating when storms like this. And I had a couple of boards knocked out, but that's all part of it. So I don't know, y'all had all kinds of stories, and heart goes out to those who really had the damages to their homes and all, but nature is remarkable when it comes to that. So I was thinking, we have no control over it. I was thinking about the tornadoes and the hurricane. We've been through a Category 5, almost most of us here, and the tornadoes all around us. We've been around them before, and this one was close, and we were well prepared, but it was close. One thing I comparing them, because here we are on tornado. Okay, I wrote down some notes. You can't really. you don't plan it. On the hurricane, you know, it's out in the Gulf, it's coming, so you got a day or two to sort of get ready for it. So you can sort of plan a day or two ahead. The tornadoes, you know, like this, you can't plan. Okay, so there's no preparation. Okay, another thing I wrote down, unpredictable path. And even as scientists now, as they look at it, and these meteorologists and all, they can't really predict it now. They see the radar when it hits down, but they think it's going to go this way. Now on a hurricane, more or less, they pretty well a day or two out. Most of the time, it's going to go in that cone and hit pretty close. So that's a big difference there. The scattered, I wrote down destruction. On a tornado, that destruction is just, you know, in an area, sort of in a scattered area. In a hurricane, it's widespread. I was comparing the two forces of nature, and it's fascinating to me. Both of them are, you know, can be deadly. But and another thing about a tornado, it's over in a couple of minutes. Honestly, it's going to get right by you. And a hurricane is coming, it's going to sit on you an hour or two and then keep on going. So there's all kinds of little parallels. That's just something I wanted to share with you because it was just first thing is about safety for your family, safety for yourself. And in a hurricane, you can sort of get ready, and even though if you stay here in it, you're still going to be ready. And in a tornado, you just got to run to a room, run to the bathroom. And for the first time ever, Gail and I actually put chairs in our shower and all to sit down, and we were ready. But we didn't go into it, but we were ready. So that's the first time we've ever done that. That's how close it was getting. I know y'all had some of the same stories. So I just wanted to share some of those things with you. I know I've heard all kind of stories, and well, you know what's remarkable every year about the Panhandle when something like this happens, people always step in to help out. I mean, neighbors, churches, friends, and all always step in. Okay, let's move on to some fishing stories real quick. Here's J.B. Hillard. J.B.'s good about sharing pictures with us. Okay, that's a nice bet. Okay, he always talks about it too. I have about given up on numbers. Catching enough for a meal or two is now a good day in my book. Amen on that. I fished out of Commander's Landing today with a friend. We had worms, but the target was crappie. Did not get a bite on worms anyway. No minnows were available at the bait shops, so we relied on jigs. The bite was very slow. We were not skunked. Had 11 in the box with 4 fillet size and the rest pan size for this skillet. A tree completely blocked Carlisle, you just never know. It would be good if some muscle and chainsaws could clear the blockage so us old folks can get back up in the swamp. River temp is 49 degrees. We got back to Commander's. The water was 2 inches over the left dock and 2 inches below when we got back. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. You got a good meal there, you've had a good refreshing day on the water, and that's what it's all about. And talking about the limbs in the water, and especially after the storms like this, it's always good. There's always somebody that's going to come along with a chainsaw and cut a path through there. And I always get a kick out of it because it's not permanent. So pretty soon somebody's going to come in there, no matter what river system, there's always some outdoorsmen going to come along and cut it so we can get back in there. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I showed you a video I took of our base system just getting a pounding. Walter took some down at the Cape, right on the beach out in front of our area. We're not on the beach, but it's an area we go to all the time, and it shows what a beating it takes too. See if I can pull it up here. Let me see. Okay, here it is right here. Check this out. Now the beach is way out, but look at that. Okay, let me go back to it. Basically what he said. Let me talk about what he said. Okay, I don't know how many millions of dollars were spent on the Cape Sandblast Renourishment Program, but basically, let's see. But look at there how that's knocking out plant after plant. That row is way down there, but that's the beating it's taken out there, and I thought it was a little bit longer than that. Here's a picture of it. Okay, here's a still picture of it. So it's and then looking the other way. So that's how much of an erosion. I mean, look, that's what, 3 to 4 foot, and it went way on out there. So that's where the pounding it took down there. So okay, so let's move on. I've got some other stuff. some pictures I want to show you. Let's go and look at these pictures here. I got some funny ones to show you. Let's start off with this one. Make everybody laugh this morning. Fishing like this should also affect your credit score. Okay, here's one. This is, let's see, Billy Grantham sent this. Meat hunters after the season ends. That's the meat hunter's freezer. And the trophy hunters after the season ends. That's their freezer right there. Okay, let me see. I want to show you this one too. I'm gonna come back to this one. This is okay, here's one. This one, a trail camera, the Kurt Davis sent to me. It's trail camera. Okay, I'm gonna blow it up now. Isn't that a great picture of dove flying? I mean, at full wings. We talk about these trail camera pictures, and it's a natural picture there. What a great close-up shot on that one. Don't forget, I'm gonna mention this a couple times. It's about 1 month from now, February 10th, Holmes Creek Long Spurs, and Matthew Grantham is in charge of there. Okay, in the woods the other day, that's just a scrape this time of year. That's what they'll start doing. That's not a real big scrape. I think that was a smaller buck there. Back in the day, this is a Michigan picture before trucks, and that Michigan deer hunt when they opened the season. What do you do with the deer? Okay, look at the car on the left. You throw them on the, okay. Look at the car in the center, or a station wagon, throw them on top. Look at the car in front of it, throw it on the back. And then look at the car over here. You think that's successful back in Michigan? Those guys in Michigan, they love to hunt fish, the ones I know. And, so that's how they took care of it. My nephew, Dylan Chester, he was up there duck hunting at Lake Seminole. He's got a guy he goes with, and a good job there, Dylan. And then there's also, let me see. I wanted to, so I'm having trouble with it. So let's go ahead and add some names. If some of y'all didn't get to watch the Tuesday morning show because of the storm, we added names in, so if you're not sure if your name was added, you can go back to YouTube and just run through that little section there and see if I added your names, because we did add a bunch of them. Okay, here we go. Heather Taylor, Panama City. Heather's a good fisherman now, school teacher and fishing. Chad Taylor, they do a lot of good fishing if you see them showing the pictures a lot. And then also for Panama City, and also Janice Spence, Panama City, Matthew Finch, Chipley, Cynthia Clark, Chipley, David Spence, Chipley, Jimmy Sharous, okay, and Delane Bourne, Stan Bourne. They're from Panama City Beach. Pam Tiller, Deer Point Lake. Slim Tiller, Deer Point Lake. They're racing those cars. Kelly Starling, Southport. Brent Starling, Southport. Okay. Faith Owens, Weewaw Hitchika. And Hope Gainey, Weewaw Hitchika. And Chipper Gainey, Weewaw Hitchika. Chris Upchurch, Weewaw Hitchika. And Melissa Upchurch, Weewaw Hitchika. That's okay. And then from the Phoenix Springs, Billy Joe Wilcox and Michelle Wilcox. The Phoenix Springs, Charles Stringfeller, Weewaw Hitchika. Keela James Altha, Terry James Altha, Peggy Sherman, Bow George, Tom Martin, Bow George, Michael Stringfeller, Weewaw Hitchika, and David Spence, Panama City. All right, looking good right there. So we got that situation there. Okay, we always, the Boy Scout motto is always be prepared. And one of the best things about being prepared, you just want to be able to do something on the spur of the moment. Well, my guest this morning didn't show up, so if I'm a little hesitant at times, I'm sort of going by my shoestrings here, right here, and different things. But anyway, get back to the picture here. Here's a picture of my nephew. There's a great picture here of duck hunting at Lake Seminole. Okay, then he also got a nice buck here, so over the Christmas holidays. Good job. Okay, this is an arrest I wanted to share with y'all. Okay, I didn't get to finish it the other day. I had two of them. I showed one. This is Escambia County. Specialists Allgood and Ramos were on patrol when they observed a vessel with fishing rods heading west into Santa Rosa Sound. We know where that is. They did a resource inspection, and they found one undersized gray triggerfish. Well, they asked the captain if there were any other fish on board, and he said no. Then they noticed one of the occupants was sitting on a large beanbag and had not moved throughout the inspection. Red flag. The officer asked the occupant to stand up so he could inspect the deck compartment. And so underneath the beanbag, basically, officers found a 5-gallon bucket full of triggerfish and red snapper fillets. A total of 16 triggerfish over the bag limit was found. Of course, they were issued notices to appear. Again, we will talk about every time. Okay, you got a 5-gallon bucket here, then you have a beanbag sitting on it, and then this guy's sitting on a beanbag. So the officers are on board looking around, and everybody's moving around, except the guy still sitting on the beanbag. Does that sort of not tell you something there? and the officers, they're smart and they're trained, so they know what to look for. I just got to, every time I read these arrest records, and that was Escambia County, the one I showed the other day, I think was down there in Franklin County. So it's all sort of local, but it happens all over the state, just like that. Let's take a break, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Our time, 11:10 to 1:10 in the middle of the day. I do want to show one big buck picture. It just happened the other day, right after the storm, really. Here he is, Doug Williams with Jennifer Dutton Williams. Well, Jen and I are finally home and all cleaned up, so here's the story. We have known about this buck for a few months, and several good hunters at Sweetwater Hunting Club were on him. I was just fortunate enough to have two does bring him into my lap this afternoon about 5 p.m. He's pretty good for a Florida buck. Now time to get Jen one. I'll say pretty good buck. What a fine one. Good job, Doug Williams. Okay, now, you know, we're talking about having experience and always the more experienced you are, the better you are at handling situations. Well, Alan Shepard, and Alan's been on the show before. If you try to flash back to these, he fishes catfish professionally now, and one of the top catfishing tournament winners around the Southeast. And he and I, since teenagers, had hunted and fished together, and we didn't do it all the time, but our dads were hunting buddies and all, so we go way back, and that's why I wanted him on the show. He lives up there in Tallahassee now, but they go out a lot, they camp a lot with campers, and they move around a lot. They go to all these tournaments, he and his wife, kids are grown, so I really respect his ability to still be a strong outdoorsman and always doing stuff, and I think that's great. Well, he had a situation happen the other day. He sent this, and it happens to the best of us in a situation like this. And I wanted to share it with you because I'm going to read it to you. Okay, here we go. Just got back home from a 2-week fishing trip to North Alabama, which I've always enjoyed. That's good fishing up there. My plan was to fish 2 tournaments during my stay. Early morning of the second tournament, the overnight temperatures got below 25 degrees and my trailer bunks were frozen. The morning, while pulling my boat to the boat landing during the morning rush hour traffic, my boat latch was loose and the slick frozen trailer bunks allowed the boat to slide off into the major highway. Needless to say, I was nervous, sick, and heartbroken, but blessed no one was hurt. Here are the pictures here. This is up around Decatur, Alabama. And can you imagine that? Now, here he is, an experienced outdoorsman, but it had frozen overnight. You can see, here's on the other end, you can see where the ice and all is still on those bunks. And it wasn't latched that well, and he thought it was latched. And look at all his equipment. It's amazing he didn't lose all his equipment. I mean, he's a good outdoorsman and experienced, but it happens to the best of us. And they got the traffic around them. Nobody was hurt, no other accidents. And he did give a shout out to the Decatur Police Department, towing recovery, and the people that helped him out. The bottom line, the moral of this story is always double check the safety latch. Now, we know that, right? Always double check it, and sometimes it just happens like that. So I'm glad no one was hurt. I'm glad y'all were able to get out of that. Now, real quick, I'll show you a couple of other things. I won't get to finish all of them. You've known me for a long time. You know how much I love St. Vincent Island. When they first opened, I was there bow hunting, and all, way back in the early 70s, late 60s, the government bought it. So I always had a fascination with it, and I just loved going down there. And the history of it, I've shared with you how a guy from Buffalo, New York, he was a doctor and had a lot of money. He got a patent on some medicine or something, snake oil or whatever, and then he made a lot of money. So he went down to St. Vincent, bought St. Vincent Island, brought all kind of game and all. So I've told you that story a couple of times. And he actually moved down, lived on the island, and still have the house he lived in still there. So when I would hunt there, I'd just go by there and I'd just soak in the history. Cause I imagine living there in the 40s and 30s and 40s and 50s. So anyway, this guy named Bill Price has got around to, he shows pictures, some old Florida pictures, and he colorizes, sort of modernizes and colorizes the pictures. And he does it all over the state, old pictures he finds and sort of redoes. And I ran across some that he did the other day. And okay, this will bring back, here, this is at St. Vincent Island. Elgin Whiffing, and that's a family that still has a marine down there. In 1937, in his homemade steamboat, St. Vincent Island, and he was the overseer. He ran the property there. He was Buffalo, New York, Dr. Ray Pierce, and that's one of the pictures there. But he's got, there he is again, and he, of course, he lived there in East Point, or Apalachicola. He would come across, and he would just watch the land for them. So anyway, I have a bunch of pictures to show. I just wanted to set it up for you. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you the rest of the pictures, but it really captures the history of the 1930s in such a remote, wild, desolate area. And it was a jungle really back then, and they built that house. And I had a picture of the house. I don't have time to get to it, so tomorrow that's what we're going to start the show off and finish those pictures up for you because it's really cool. So save those old photographs. All kinds of things you can do with them now. Really, really good. All right, I got to wrap it up for today. We did good without a guest. We made it. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Enjoy our great outdoors, and let's take care of the Florida Panhandle outdoors. You have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.